coming in, but can Pristini win the two? No. He does. That's 3 straight.
He's trying to get out there. He challenged and he wins it.
Behind him, Classic. Trying to line him up. Trying to line him up in the final.
Looking to find a few more, but Gunless absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them. 249, Seattle won!
Seattle Surge, what's going on, guys? It's RLaw. I'm back. It has been absolutely crazy. Stage 4 is here. So far, game 1 has already been better than all of Stage 3 combined, if you personally ask me. Guys, we had the performance of a lifetime last game. I really do think our hardpoint has taken an entire 180. Guys, we were a search and destroy team, if you ask me. We really were. We were search and destroy, top 3, undisputably, undeniably. We were up there, okay? We're not right now, but our hardpoint game has completely turned around. We are winning more hardpoints than I have ever imagined. I can't even tell you. I never would have thought Respawn would be where we dominated, and that's right now. That's what we're doing, and I'm beyond excited and hyped to see how today performs. Okay, guys, listen, Faze has obviously been really on top of their game lately, and you can't deny that, but with the 3-2 last time, we went to game 5 to search and destroy, and we had a really poor performance there. But the performance of the other 4 games combined, all of our players, our ARs, everything that we did right last time. And I am so excited to see what we can do today, guys. It was absolutely insane. Guys, Pristini, the Houdini, all right? Last time I saw a performance from you that we had been missing. All right, I keep saying the players are inconsistent. You guys are playing on your own time. You guys aren't really doing it together. We saw a team-wide performance in those hard points. Preston, the trades you got for Classic's life, the 2 pieces, the double kills, everything you kept doing, please do it again today. I know you as a search and destroy, absolute phenomenon. You are a monster in search, but you were a monster in hardpoint. And if you could take that, put that in control, put that in surge, give us all just the steady performance we need from you today. Preston, dude, you're warming up. Despite that opening loss and the performance in season 3, you absolutely came out on fire for stage 4. All right, we need the flashes that everyone's been ecstatic about. We need the Pristini, the Houdini to come out slaying and doing what we need from you today. All right, I got really high expectations and hopes for you. I can't even begin to tell you what I'm expecting from you today. I am thinking you are going to be one of the 4. You are going to be the one to watch for today. I have all eyes on you, Preston. I really do. Gunless, all right, listen, you stepped up this year. You really have. You've been the rock the team needed. There's I think a lot of people sleep on you. I don't think you've been getting a lot of action time, camera spotlight that you deserve. I keep seeing your name in the kill feed almost every time. Nothing's on you, and you're just popping off, all right? It takes you a little bit. I call you the icy hot warlord. I'm gonna keep calling you that, but you have been a rock, okay? It takes you a little bit to warm up, but once you're there, you are on fire and you are everything we need and then some, okay? I really think that you are the rock holding everything together right now. You've got the rotations, you're the anchor in a sense. You really bring this team together in your own aspect, and I do think that has been amazing to see from you. Classic, you're new to the team. I don't know too much about your past. You're definitely new to the team. I was talking last time, I think you were more so a bait tactic thing. I really don't know how to describe it. I don't think you were intentionally being the bait. I just think that you weren't able to get on the timing for some of that initially. Preston, I think you stepped up and you were able to get a lot of trades for that. Classic, I think you really turned it around towards the second half of your performance, but I don't want to see another icy hot on this team. I'm trying to think of how I can really go about it, but I would really like to see you just coming out of the gate, getting that timing down, maybe slow yourself down a second or two. I just think that you were stepping in first and getting a lot of deaths for it. Otherwise, I think your shot's immaculate. You have really good game sense. You knew where to be. You knew when to be there. It was just slightly off. If that's something you can fix, that's the only advice I've got for you. Otherwise, amazing. Octane, listen, You're finding some past glory. I see you. I heard that Classic, I think, was your past teammate. I think that's the only information I really have. But I've seen some past glory coming back. Your AR shot was, you gave a really excellent performance last time. I think people were, I think I saw a lot of hate on Twitter. People were saying that maybe you had hung it up or you thought that this team was done. I don't think you gave up yet. I think you're still here. I think the performance we saw from you was phenomenal, and I'm really hoping that you just continue to ride it out and you perform the way you need to with this team, because you are absolutely a slayer. And that AR performance, I think we even saw you pick up an AK and really just bring it home last time. Please do that again today. Please do it again. Do it in search. The hard point was amazing. The control, I don't have a lot of confidence in control at this point. We do a strategy that I don't believe in, but you guys do it excellently. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. I want to see the strategy work. Maybe swap that strategy up. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to put it on blast, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And I'd like to see maybe that swapped up or maybe that executed a little differently. I think if Classic gets the timing down and the three of you are all able to play off of that, the four of you together, absolutely clean sweep this. I'm thinking maybe, I think a 3-2 performance again. I do think we're going to go to game 5 for the second time. I think that we're going to take it. I really do. If our respawns go exactly how they did last time and we're able to fix our performance in Search and Destroy, I think we go 3-2 against FaZe in favor of Seattle Surge. Guys, give me some predictions in the chat. All right. That's what I'm thinking. I think we take the hard point easily. I have no confidence control. I know that I'm supposed to be all Seattle Surge is so amazing. I have no confidence in our control game, but our hard point game and our respawn in general has been a total 180. So I'm expecting the unexpected, and I really want to see something insane. I'm really expecting you guys to blow my mind today. Guys, keys to the game. ARs need a repeat performance. I covered this a little bit. Everything we saw from the ARs last week was amazing. I think the submachine guns lacked when the ARs were performing, and vice versa. If we get that team chemistry that we keep talking about needing and the ARs perform, it's GG's. There's no discussion about it. Okay, guys, regain the SN dominance. Stage 2. Stage 2, you guys were top 3. It was undisputed. You were one of the best Search and Destroy teams on paper. And we got to see that in your gameplay. We're not seeing that. We didn't see that Stage 3, and we're not seeing it Stage 4 right now. But we're seeing a total 180 and respawns. So let's try to find a happy balance. All right, guys. Search and Destroy was our baby. Let's bring that back. All right, I want that. I love Search and Destroy. It's my favorite game mode. We need to take that. Guys, Maven's a jinx. Don't let him jinx us, all right? Don't let him get in the head. Don't listen to anything Maven says. Who's Maven? All right, you got RLaw casting your games for a reason. We don't need to pay attention to Maven at all right? I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Guys, I really do have a lot of confidence for us. Also, Seattle Surge, if you saw how good our players looked, if you have been following our Twitter, we just launched the champion line. It looks even better than anything else we put out so far. It is so beautiful. Guys, you guys want to look as good as our players do, shop.seattlesurge.gg. You guys can check out the champion collection. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure it's going to be in the description, or you guys can find it in the chat at some point during this stream. It's everywhere. It's all over our Twitter. Guys, check it out. It looks so good. It's preemptively building up for us to have that champion title at the end of this stage. All right, guys, this is Seattle Surge. I'm here for it, and I'm so excited. Guys, what do we got predictions in the chat? Anyone, what are we thinking? I really want to see us take this. I really want to see Hardpoint go our way. I want to say Search and Destroy. We're going to blow everyone's mind because we've been playing so badly in Search. I really don't think there's any way we could screw the performance up further. I know that's, the downfall talk, but I really do expect a total turnaround for Search and Destroy. I really hope so. I really do hope so. I think 3-1 Atlanta, but if we can win both respawns, I wouldn't even care about the end result. See, I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter about FaZe interacting with Seattle Surge and whatnot, but I'm really hoping we get this 3-2. If we win a control, the energy you guys are gonna see after that control match, it's gonna be immaculate. I'm gonna be absolutely cracked out on excitement. If we win a control, against Faze of all teams, that would blow my mind. I'm not so much more like, you know, thinking we have no chance in hardpoint or search. We do. We have a very good chance in both those game modes. It's control that I have no confidence in. And that's what always gives me that, oh, we're not going to 3-1 Faze. We have control. In my head, it's automatically like a loss. And as poor as that is to say, that's why I've got the most excitement for some control. I don't know about you guys in chat, but that's what I really want to see right now. I hope it's not raid though. I don't know why we continue to do control on raid. It is the scariest thing ever. The cast after that, oh, you guys have no idea. But I am really excited to see it today. I really do have a lot of confidence in our roster. I've seen them, guys. I've seen them performing. I've seen them practicing. Everything about it has been absolutely really hyped, guys. I just want to see it happen today. I really do. Guys, remember, I'll be back here after 2 games. I can't wait to see you guys at the halftime. Let's talk about it, and I will see you guys all later. Remember, shop.seattlesurge.gg if you want to look as good as our players do. Guys, it's been RLaw. Remember, drown them out.
Oh yeah, it's Seattle Surge with 50 points. A big game. Like we said, we talk about how the groups are obviously winding out, stud. But again, when we talk about where both these teams sit, it is basically number 1 versus number 12. Atlanta Faze sitting pretty after a W. Seattle on the other side, not feeling so great after a loss. Again, folks, it is Lando and Study guiding you guys through the action. A great game. Study kick off the Florida home series. I got followed by John Cena on Twitter. How are you?
Me too, man. I couldn't see him when he followed me, but I was happy to get a follow by Mr. John Cena. But between these 2 matches, like you said, number 1 versus number 12. This is David versus Goliath. And right now, Seattle, they need every win that they can possibly get. And when you're going up against a team like Atlanta Faze, who already have 2 major wins underneath their belt, they're the number 1 team in the entire CDL, currently sitting at 360 points. They're just trying to work on their bad maps. So if you're the Surge, you need to come out. You need to play probably the best Call of Duty you've played all season.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like, so when you face off against a team like Atlanta, you got to be on point. It's going to be what, their 2nd series now with Classic in the lineup. Can they end the 8-game losing streak? Can they pull off something absolutely miraculous? We're excited to see if that in fact can be the case. Let's go ahead and meet our first team, Seattle Surge. Fire coming in, but can Pristini win it too? No. He does. That's 3 straight.
So he's trying to get out there. He challenges and he wins it.
Behind a Classic. Trying to line him up. Trying to line him up in the final.
Looking to find a few more, but Gunners absolutely rips his way through the 3 of them. 249, Seattle won! And there you have it, your Seattle Surge. 4 individuals who probably also got the follow by John Cena. On a serious note, though, stud, a heartbreaking loss that this team is coming off of. A big game versus the LA Thieves. We can talk a number of different times about that control, and they get all the way to the game 5 and are not able to close it out. Like we said, man, just one of the many unfortunates for Seattle kind of so far throughout this year. Expectations coming into the rest of Stage 4, in your opinion?
I think Seattle, I feel like they're going to be on the upwards because obviously in the series that they play versus the Thieves, if they do not choke that control, they're able to close it out in the 3-1 with them winning both hard points. So with them adding Classic to this team, I just feel like everyone is a lot more comfortable on the map. And we saw it out of Octane in that series. He had a great series. Yeah. Even though they lost it in the 3-2, we haven't seen Octane play that well in a really long time. So for players like Classic who didn't have a good debut, you're doing what your team needs you to do. It's just those little plays that really, those little mistakes that can cost you out in series. You just got to make sure that you're closing out in those final moments.
Yeah, and oftentimes we talk about it's the little things, right? It can be the mistakes, and this team on the other side, they like to punish you when it comes down to those little mistakes. Again, like we said, when we talk about the CDL points, it is hard to ignore the team at the top. It is hard to not see them, if you get what I'm saying. Let's go ahead and beat our other team. Again, a solid roster, a group that we look to see have another solid performance today. It is the Atlanta Faze.
The game has turned on its head.
Run! Get onto the point! Elliott finds himself 2 more. Oh, baby! Absolutely slayed. What a magnificent comeback from Atlanta.
And there is the Atlanta Faze, a scary roster from top to bottom. And as we were talking about Seattle, off of an unfortunate loss, Atlanta on the other side, off of a very heroic win, stud. They get to 3-0 versus Optic.
Yeah, they get the 3-0 versus Optic, and that was just insane to watch because Atlanta Faze, once again, when they play the top dogs, they're going to come out and play their best maps. They're not trying to let anything fishy happen, so they dominated Optic in that series in a 3-0 clean with everyone sitting over basically a 1.2, and that's just something that we don't see often. And that's what's so scary about this team is that they have no weakness. So watching Atlanta Faze, you know, 2 already major wins underneath their belt, the best team in the game. But let's just hop into our keys to victory brought to you by Game Fuel for Atlanta Faze. They showed their line of consistency versus Optic. Like I said, man, everybody was over a 1.18 KD with a plus 50 slaying. It's so scary, man, because everyone is just so consistent on this team and they have no weakness. And continue to expand the map pool leading into the Major 4. Work on the little things. They only have a couple maps that they're not really comfortable on yet, and we see them every series. Just throw them in there, trying to get better at them. But when we do the keys to victory for Atlanta Faze, it's just really difficult because these guys are so good. They just need to be on point today.
I know it's always like, okay, expand your map pool and, you know, just one play that happened, yeah, you guys should work on that. Like, it's so minor. Of course, on the other side, our Game Fuel keys to victory here for the Seattle Surge. What, man? Slayers need to be firing on all cylinders. You're playing against a squad like FaZe, and with Classic now on the team, he can free up those Slayers to be able to find kills, as you mentioned, as we saw versus LAT. And then Control, right? It cannot continue to hold them back any longer as they sit right now on an 8-game losing streak in that mode. And obviously, we talk about their last series versus Thieves quite often. They lost both of the Search and Destroys in that department. And really, in general, when we talk about their map pool, it has to improve, right? I think they're like 4-10 outside of Express, Search, and Destroy. So again, just a number of different things that, you know, have to be kind of in the process for Seattle. It's obviously going to be a very tough, rather very difficult and tough opponent coming in here versus Atlanta. But we talk about map vetoes. We talk about possibly maybe a map expansion coming in from Atlanta. That as we look through our set of 5 here, any maps kind of stick off the page for you?
Yeah, so Checkmate Hardpoint, this is a map that Atlanta Faze haven't played a lot all year. They're currently sitting at 3-3, so they want to just get more reps on it to be prepared going into that Major 4. So that one's going to be in favor of the Surge here. And then that map number 2 is going to be Raid, Search, and Destroy. And Atlanta Faze, the only team that I feel like they have struggled with on that map is Toronto. And the fact that they're playing the Surge on that, obviously they're not going up against Toronto, so they're a little bit more confident there. So I'm excited to see that one. But this series can go either way. If the Surge can come out and win map 1, I think the later half of the series between the Control and the next hardpoint, I heavily favor FaZe, but if they can come out in this opening hardpoint and just chain that momentum going into the Search and Destroy, I have a feeling that this series might go 5.
All right, man, it's going to be a fun one. As we said, starting off the Florida home series the right way, our first series and our first map, as you mentioned, Atlanta, not too prone to playing Checkmate Hardpoint. In fact, I believe it's the first time that they've played it since the Stage 2 Major versus the Ultra. They didn't get the W there, but it has been some time. So, you know, again, we talked about teams expanding the map pool. You and I talked about this quite a bit for Atlanta. That, you know, could at times come back to bite them. Like, you know, we saw them play standoff Search and Destroy. Just so happens to be that Paris looked like the best standoff Search and Destroy team in the league. So maybe you catch a little bit of an advantage here if you are really the opposite side. But how about the start to this hard point? Seattle come in a big way toward top lane and instantly secure spawns for P2. A great way to start this one off. We talk about how important this game 1 hardpoint is versus the Surge. You couldn't ask for a better start than that.
Yeah, they got a nice 4 dead, and they were able to flip those spawns. They ain't gained 20 seconds onto this P1 hardpoint. Now, it's all about just keeping this contested, making sure that you're keeping those spawns for that P2. You see players playing a little more passive. Gunless and Pristini still putting down the crossfire inside plane. But so far, job well done out of the Surge. They flip the spawns. They get a good amount of time off of this P1. Now it's all about just trying to set up for that P2, making sure that no one dies off the rotation. Classic drops there, but he's going to hold his cam. Unfortunately, and not spawn in the back, so he doesn't hold his cam there. So the pinch is going to come in, but that's going to be 3 down for Seattle Surge. And now that they have spawns, they just have to locate Celium towards this back yellow building and start putting some more time on this clock.
A lot easier said than done, but Octane is able to handle business just the right time. Again, Atlanta somewhat frustrated that they did lose those backside spawns, but again, it's Octane laying down the lead there with the Krieg. Atlanta 3 strong now toward the flank. 30 very valuable seconds still left on deck. It's Pristini's able to find the first and a quick double toward the front side as the break will in fact be in from Atlanta. Somewhat of a slower start. They don't get as much time as they would have wanted, but at the very least they are going to be able to get the break and grab those final 15 seconds.
Yeah, so now it's all about just setting up off that rotation, and that's exactly what the Surge are doing. They're trying to trap Atlanta Faze towards this back P2. Justini with a big kill towards that A alley. Just making sure that they're holding the players from Faze in this little corner here and just not giving up that map control. So they're going to start off with the initial time. BZ does sneak through Tetris, is able to get 2. So now this is going to cause some problems for the Surge. It's going to be 3 down. Last player alive is going to be Octane towards back exit. He's able to take down 2 before he drops, and his teammates are able to get back on towards the point. So even with the Surge dropping like flies on that play, they're still able to stay alive with a great play out of Octane to get the 2, start enough time for his teammates to get back on that point.
I know we talked about it in our Keys to Victory stud, but I know you have kind of talked to me a number of different times about how great of a player that you think Classic is. Nikki D kind of has a lot of intangibles for a team, and I think we both agree, like, a team like Seattle, I think, has the ability to benefit more than possibly a roster like Legion did. And you see Octane going 9-4 just to start off this hard point. He has a 1.3 in that series versus LAT. Talk to me, like, what do you think some of the benefits are by adding a player like Classic to the Surge?
So when you're adding a player like Classic to the Surge, like obviously before they made that roster change, they had Looney on here. So before Looney, he was that in-game leader. So when you add a player like Classic to the mix, that's one thing that they were struggling when they released him. And that's what a Classic is so well at doing. He has the past chemistry with Octane, with Gunless, and they've won multiple championships together. But just adding Classic, he's gonna do all the dirty work and just keep the small talk and keep the plays consistent for the team. Make sure everyone's on the same page and just really be that in-game leader for this roster.
I'll tell you what, man, this roster could definitely utilize that skill as they have, you know, like I said, with players like Looney, and at times you can take a hit whenever you lose just the advantage like that. But Octane, 12-4 on the 7 spree, does in fact earn the artillery and could be moments away from grabbing the cruise as well. As 90-53, Surge coming out strong to start this one off. P5 could definitely start to tell somewhat of a different story, but again, they are able to push out the spawns and now have the advantage coming into that hill as well. A few moments away from capturing that century mark here to start off this hard point. As we go and step aside and listen with the other side. Let's go to our Astro listening now with Atlanta.
No trophies on time.
Yeah, I'm going back. I'm going back.
No trophies on time. He's pushing me. He's pushing me.
Yep.
Yo, from what?
Tell me,
I don't see anything back with.
Nice
In wood,
I'll say one. I'll say one.
I'm sending time. I'm gonna be quick.
Nice, text me.
I want top
I'm
lane.
just
Same last year.
Front on you.
I have top lane.
I got a time.
I have top lane.
Chris, I'm playing time with you, bro.
Yep. Top lane.
Chris, I'm in interview.
Yo, our steps.
Nice, Chris, you can push
Over
it.
here.
Run hill,
One front now.
Stand.
He's yellowing. Yeah, Pierce is yellowing. He's just holding. He jumped down to yellow crate. I bring this shit back right here.
New. I'm just staying up new. I'm help you new. Yeah, I'm in the room.
I'm coming too.
Tyler, I'm gonna cut over you. I'm gonna cut over you.
I made it.
Yeah, you're good. I'm coming.
I'm laying down.
Pierce was yellow shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hit her long.
Oh, shit, along.
Pierce
Trying to come
Artillery.
That's right.
Fuck, this is.
I'm trying to get back.
I got one. I got
I'll
two.
see Pierce.
One shot.
Pierce is great crate. Pierce is great crate.
I'll come.
He's just spawn trapping. Pierce is great crate.
Yeah. Try to kill that guy.
I'm teaming great. Yeah,
I'm in the room.
He's on street.
Room done.
Nice.
One room. One shot.
He
In
was
the
up
room, Sam.
Are you leaving Pierce?
Photo.
He's weak.
He's lying down.
Yeah,
Lying
I
down.
Where? I left him.
Still missing Pierce, right?
Yeah. He's on like a 3 or 4.
Stop
He's
yelling.
on.
One dead.
I have a time Big 30 right here.
Wait.
One of the stairs on me.
I'm counting.
Damn, really weak.
Yo, tube.
Push down.
Push back. Yo, fun time, guys.
Yeah. I got
Pierce is bottom tail.
Nick is weak. One's long. Nick is in 2. Presence pushing mid long. Presence pushing mid long, by the way.
Yo, make sure we're playing
I
this
spawned
time.
backwood. Yeah, I spawned backwood.
Bottom lane.
I'm playing Preston.
Pierce is tail.
I mean, exit now.
Yeah, slow down.
Oh, Nick dead.
Good kills.
Top yellow Sam. She got spawn kill.
Where's the tail?
Or tube.
Can you cross?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Is
No,
he
he's bottom tail, bro.
On team
He's
two.
just holding bottom
Yeah,
tail.
Close right on you.
Too big.
Pierce weak.
Nice.
One
Flashing over you.
CT, I'm trying to cross.
Use back.
He's laying down. There's
Cross small.
He got me.
You heard Atlanta calling out streaks, calling a number of different things, just trying to be prepared for what is great map positioning right now from Seattle. I gotta say, with as close of a map that it almost is somewhat surprising, Stud, considering how great that Surge have been playing early on in these money hills, but they've been doing the hard work. It's just been a matter of not being able to get it done down the stretch. But see if Atlanta has the ability to break with these 30 seconds left. A few players wiped off the map, and it appears that these last few are gonna go the way of Seattle once more.
Yeah, so this Atlanta Faze, they did such a great job of breaking into that P5 and not letting this game get out of hand. So With right now, Surge are only up by at least 30 points if they get this remaining 15. Put them up by 45, but Atlanta Faze is doing a great job of just keeping them off that time. But Seattle, they just had a great hold on that P2. So now the lead is going to grow. That forces Atlanta Faze to set up off that rotation towards that P3. See what Abeezy's trying to do. Once again, cause some problems for Seattle. Surge towards that Tetris side. He's able to win that first engagement onto Classic. He's just playing his life. Just wasting time on the clock. Seattle trying to set up a push here. They're not trying to drop single-handedly one by one. So they're waiting for the push to come in. So far, there's no action on the map. This is the quietest that we've ever seen Call of Duty. But Atlanta Faze are able to take down 3. Pristini's going to be the last player alive. He's going to drop as well. So a great hold out of the Surge on that P2 turns to another great hold out of the Faze on P3, which we usually don't see often. Abeezy currently on a 5-speed now. Atlanta Faze only down 10 points, make it 6 for Abeezy, working towards some streaks.
Oh, and it just does get cut down. An unfortunate life to lose if you are Faze in that moment. Could have very well had streaks, but they go on, what, like a 9-10 team spree. Nice little sequence there granted for Faze as they will reclaim spawns. That was for a moment a little bit of a tricky situation there for Atlanta, was the fact that P5 was in favor of the Surge for a moment, but back and forth we go on some checkmate. A nice advantage currently granted for Seattle, but with Abeezy slaying like this, you have to ask yourselves, can this continue? Octane tries to step in, pretty much the only player to try and make somewhat of an impact in that moment, and he gets dealt with. Another team spree coming through, and Abeezy picking up right where he left off. A 4 spree for him, a 4 spree as well for Arcades. Atlanta climbing their way back as we are contested with 30 left over at P4, but it's Arcades who loses the big fight versus Octane. A number of different major battles going down throughout the map, but 20 seconds left. Seattle with a minor lead, but P5, those spawns still belong to Atlanta.
Yeah, and they need to try to flip this if you're Seattle. You need to win these engagements, and that's a good opening right there out of Pristini. To get this remaining 10 seconds, put your team up by at least 30 points, but it's all about just trying to pick up these kills and flip these spawns. Atlanta Faze is going to be fully set up for that P5. One player already on the hill. One player does have plane control. And number 8, which is Abeezy, is going to be sitting in the corner watching that A-long. The streak is going to come in from Octane. Can he try to spot anyone? Abeezy was able to take down a Classic. Streaks in, and unfortunately nothing connects. So Atlanta Faze are able to get right onto the point. We're going to see a lead change here shortly. But Atlanta Faze finally having their first lead of the entire game. They're just trying to hold down the pressure from the Surge, but they're able to break in through the front. Kills are going back and forth, and Atlanta Faze, they slow down the push from the Surge and once again have control.
So neck-and-neck hard point separated by what? A good 4 to 5 seconds. Seattle not necessarily starting to scatter, but again, you saw little moments back and forth as you called it, Stud. The SMGs kind of make their way forward, but Atlanta are able to slow down the push. As we head back toward top, it is Abeezy continuing to cause chaos. Celia, meanwhile, is finding players through the wall. Cabin or not, the other players are having some issues for the moment. Back and forth, 25 left for Atlanta. Can Seattle muster this one back? Octane drops, Gunless is there for the trade. Back and forth we go, my man.
Yeah, back and forth, but Atlanta Faze are doing a great job of just holding on this P1 to the best of their ability. They only need about 15 seconds left to close this out. You see what Simp's doing? Just applying pressure on the map, able to take 2 down. They can close it out here with 10 seconds remaining, unless the Surge are able to get in and contest it.
And we'll see if they can possibly muster that up. 7 seconds left for this one to be a Faze W, but it's Gunless for the first. A quick trade, and now it comes down to Octane. How long can he delay? But he gets stuck. The nade right to the center of the eyes as Pristini has to pick up right where he left off. But as he falters, can anybody from the Surge get there in time? Gunless running as fast as he can, and he will contest, but Abeezy is there for the clothesline. And what was a very neck-and-neck hard point all the way throughout, it will be Atlanta going big in the later stages, grabbing P5 and grabbing P1 to get the W here on Checkmate.
Yes, that was the difference, because we saw it on the very first P5. Seattle Surge, they were set up early. They got them first 30 seconds, but Atlanta Faze, they were able to break in, gain that remaining 30 seconds, and then tie the game up in the middle of that P1 hard point. It all came down to the play of Abeezy. And that's why I have this guy as one of those MVP candidates going into the end of the year, because just the pacing that he plays at. I'm pretty sure he just went like 30-something and 21. The guy was just on point. And the fact that he's just able to just cause so many problems for the opposite team, and doing it with a positive 10 KD with the pressure that he's on, The guy's just unreal, man. He wins some gunfights that are just mind-blowing to me, and you gotta just tip the hat to the young man because he's really good at Call of Duty.
He is. What finishes off 34 and 24, puts in 5,900 damage. A great game for Abizi. We talk about checkmate hardpoint oftentimes can be ruled by the ARs. Well, it's this aggro SMG who, of course, once more is able to add another highlight game to what is a very extensive reel at this moment. But big game coming through from Abizi as Atlanta are able to answer in the opening hardpoint. It is now search and destroy on raid. Can Seattle level the score, or will Atlanta continue in the dominance? We will be back with Raid S&D up right after this.
The Call of Duty League is presented by the US Army. What's your warrior? USAA is made for gamers. Level up your gear protection with USAA Insurance.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, a nice start to the day. Atlanta Faze getting the job done, specifically Abizi getting the work done toward the later stages of that checkmate hardpoint. Goes big for the roster, and now Atlanta find themselves up quite firmly, I guess we could say, study so far throughout this series. You and I have talked constantly about Atlanta. We actually were talking to the break for just a moment during the commercial, and it's just a matter of, like, I feel like Atlanta sometimes can get put in these tricky situations, but it's Arcides, it's Celium, it's Simp, it's Abizi, who just one of them tends to go off, goes on a spree, and then from there, the entire game gets turned around.
And that's what's so scary about this team, is that when three players are not putting up the performance that we expect them to, there's always that one guy. There's always that one guy that's going to be able to go off for this team. And just looking at these KDs after the first two matches of each stage, everyone's over a 1.0 KD. This is kind of scary. Just look at stage 3. That is their lowest performance right there, because obviously throughout stage 3, they were playing a lot of maps that they were just trying to get better at. But the fact that consistently these guys are over 1.0 KD as a team in every stage, it just shows that these guys have no weakness, man. They're the best team in the game for a reason.
They absolutely are, and they show that. Like I said, in that checkmate hardpoint, I know we talk about kind of individuals, but it's overall this individual aspect that also caters into the teamwork. There's a number of different ways that they can attack you, and we talked about KDs. I mean, I know that doesn't tell the entire story, but throughout the entirety of the CDL so far, they lead in hardpoint KD, they lead in search and destroy KD, and they lead in control KD. So with that in mind, it is kind of terrifying, I guess, if you are any team to face off against this roster. But against that, getting into the search and destroys now, of course, we are headed to raid in specific for this one. And I believe I think you talked about it at the top of the show, FaZe, really the only team that they've struggled with is the Ultra. And you did that without even researching. I actually went back. I was like, you know, that sounds right. It's true. They have lost 4 times on raid, 3 of those losses to the Ultra. The only other loss that they have is to New York in a round 11. So the only team that's been able to figure them out is Toronto. Can Seattle do that now? a hard task without a doubt as Atlanta starting things off on attack.
Yeah, so on this map, Atlanta, like you said, they have 4 losses, so they're sitting at 5-4. On the opposite side, you have the Surge, who are 2-4. Christini opens up with the first blood, classic with the trade, and just like that, the Surge, they just come out and punch FaZe right in the mouth in that very first round, and they're able to walk away with that defensive hold, now up 1-0.
I do like the aggressiveness, man. I like the aggressiveness because that exact phrase that you just mentioned was a phrase that Abizi used once whenever they were facing off against the Ultra. He's like, hey, they came out and they basically just punched us. We didn't have the time to react. So at the very least, you know, if you are the Surge, answering early in that defense as Gunless is able to find 2 in the round, and I'll see what Seattle have up their sleeves. Again, they did lose both of the Search and Destroys versus Thieves. I believe it was a 6-3 on standoff and a 6-1 on raid. So with that in mind, somewhat familiar with this, maybe gone back to the drawing board and have ironed a few things out. The nade toward Rock definitely going to weaken a few players up, and with that, Slam does go for the challenge. He finds the first and also takes down Pristini. A quick challenge in from Octane is to look to level the score, but it is already Gunless left in a 1 versus 2 position known, brought down low in HP. The Big Pierce is at times full of clutch potential, and he gets the nice jump shot there onto Abizi. Starting things off 4-0. Can he pull this one off?
With 40 seconds left, he has to work towards that bomb. And right now, Selim, he has no information of where Gunless can possibly be. So with 30 seconds remaining, eventually this bomb has to get planted, but Selim, he's playing that 50-50, making sure that he's staying towards this B-bomb site. I think he was able to spot him there towards that white van area. So now the engagement is going to be in. Gunless trying to challenge from the top. Great shots, and is able to walk away with the round in a 1v2 situation. The first kill on Abizi was amazing, and then he takes his time to slowly work around the map to gain some more map control, jump towards that top raid, and is able to outposition Selim right there in that 2v1. Huge Ryan right there out of Gunless to clutch up and now put his team up 2-0.
Big P with the clutch, and obviously, like we said, starting things off 5-0. A great beginning there for him as Surge grabbed the first 2. I mean, what, in that 1 versus 1 situation, Stud, do you feel like Selim maybe should have used some better trigger discipline?
No, well, it's just difficult because Gunless, he was just in such a great position that he just took the map to him. Like, the fact that he was stuck on that white van, Selim knows that a wall bang can come in on both angles. But just the fact that Gunless went on top and raid, just got a different angle on towards him, hit him with a couple better shots. It's just really difficult from that position to try to pick up that kill on towards top raid, so Gunless was able to walk away with it. But right there, Selim was able to answer with 2. So now in a 3-2 situation, the Surge need to try to retake. The bomb plan is going to go down for Atlanta Faze. Now Gunless working towards some streaks, already 6-0. He's trying to find the 7th, but his life is valuable. I think even if you lose this round right here, if your teammate dies, you just stay alive if you're Gunless, because streaks can really change this map.
Oh, when he tosses out the utility!
And that's unfortunate.
Oh my goodness, that has to hurt if you're the Surge and they pick up Octane as well. A 2 versus 3 that, again, you're looking at Atlanta, cool, they grabbed the round, but what a difference that could have made. Gunless was able to grab the streaks. That would have just been 3 rounds of play. It just feels like it's been Selim versus Gunless so far throughout these first 3 rounds of raid, but Gunless finally does end up getting taken down, and Faze are able to answer. You see, what, 6-1 from Gunless, 5-2 from Selim. What, every other player on the map has 1 kill, Stud. Every other player. It is literally Selim versus Gunless so far.
So far, it's a good show. Yeah, you have your flex players going at it right now, so Christini, we have seen that spot way too many times, and I know Atlanta Faze are not going to give that one up easy. Abizi is able to open up with the first blood, now forces it to a 3v4 for the Surge, and this is a map that they need to take, because we know that the struggles that they have had in control, if you go into that control, not tied at least 1-1 to extend the series, it's going to be really difficult for the Surge to try to bounce back, but first blood is going to go to FaZe. The bomb plant is coming in from Surge on towards that B bomb. No indication that nade going to get a hit marker, but Abizi's able to immediately trade that. So now they have full bomb control. They know that both players from the Surge have to be on their side of the map. Octane's able to get 1, so now it's a 3v2 situation, and Gunless with the trade. So now they know where Octane is. 30 seconds left. He has to try to finesse. And I think he's done just that, but unfortunately, the Tiny Terrors, they both slide out the window. Really difficult to gunfight one of them, but if both of them are challenging you at the same time, it's automatically going to be a trade. And Atlanta Faze, they take the retake and close out the round.
It was so funny. Like, you just noticed at the end. Did he just make that? No, he didn't. He didn't just make that, right? I was looking away for a moment.
No,
okay, I was going to say, if he makes that on top of also winning the round, maybe they get another one on top of that. Regardless, though, it was funny because I think just looking at the ground, like, okay, where are these guys at? I know they just took down Gunless. They've got to be below me. But unfortunately, not the case. As you said, the Tiny Terrors getting the nice retake and quickly answer at 2-2. And it just kind of gets me back to that conversation, man, of that control for Seattle. Like, how much importance this now puts on the S&D if you don't win the hard point, or even vice versa. Like, we talk about a team that is struggling so much in a particular mode. I think they're like 3-17 in control on the season. It just continues to echo how important it is to be a consistent roster. And, you know, we've seen teams at times try to master it, but oftentimes the rosters that do kind of sit toward the bottom of the standings, it does come down to that one game mode. And so far for Seattle, it has been that pesky game 3. His bomb plant may in fact be red. Pristini taking down his twin brother Arcides. Also lays down the trophy with enough time, but Abizi quickly trying to go for the instant retake, trying to pick up from where his fallen comrade left off, as now we're left in a 4 versus 2. Advantage for Surge, and really the only scary part for both of these teams is that we got Gunless alive and we still have Celium. A much more difficult spot as Celium's able to win it versus Gunless, a duel that we'll see quite a bit more, but it will be Surge with the overall man advantage, and they grab their 3rd.
And that one kind of hurts if you're Atlanta, because you throw that tactical, you try to gain some information if a player is going to be sitting towards the back of this B bomb site. And Pristini, since he was on the 2nd level, basically hopped up just prone behind that rock. That flash does not indicate that he is there. So as soon as that flash comes in, he's able to trade that bomb player, put his team in an advantage, throws a trophy on himself. Eventually, his teammates come to help him, and that was just great execution right there out of the Surge. Atlanta Faze, that one's going to hurt. But now the Surge are on offense. It's going to look like it's going to be a fast push on towards this B-bomb. Pristini's going to be taking his Michael Phelps straight through the water, opened up with the first blood onto his twin brother. Abizi with the trade, so just like that, it went from a 4v3 to a 3v3. With bomb being down, Seattle, one player has to get out of position, but Simp, he hits the cut, able to get towards top window, all left up to Gunless. He's been having himself a map, but you have Celium on the map, you have the Tiny Terrors. This is going to be a difficult task to get done.
Just trying to get an angle, just trying to find out where the first gun engagement can happen. Abizi goes for the quick little challenge, but Julie just trying to set up his teammates. As you said, Gunless, a 9-3 game. Played so well, but a 1 versus 3. And this was just not going to go his way. You see him starting to get somewhat captured. There we go. Kind of the way that this round ends is also the way that it started. An aggressive beginning there for Seattle. You saw what Pristini making his way through water. Gets the nice first blood there on the Arcides, but it's the flank through water steps. It's the flank through back cutout where Simp is able to line up a few. Just when you like Seattle's chances to get up and aggressive, get in your face, it's Atlanta that are thinking ahead. Is it Simp who walks away with 3 in the round? And speaking of 3s, we got ourselves up all tied up at 3-3. And I guess if you're Seattle, you're liking the way that they've been able to keep up so far throughout this game, Stud, but we'll see how they can continue to be problematic. As Gunless once more in the opening engagement is able to find it there versus Abizi.
So he gets that first blood, so now Seattle know that they had the information. Simp with some great shots onto Classic, not able to get the second. But Arceus is able to spot Octane, so the team shots are going to come in, and just like that, it goes from a 3v2 to a 2v2. Gunless is still in towards this money window area. Pristini is going to be holding the middle map towards that P5. But they're trying to get aggressive towards Gunless. 2 baddies playing an off angle, able to spot Celium. Now it's all left up to Arcides in a 1v2 situation.
We did this out not long ago. How great has Arcides been in these clutch moments recently for Atlanta? Seems he's leading in KD. He's had the biggest change up from stage 2 to stage 3 for his team. Not able to get it done there. I believe it once more. It was Gunless putting in the work as he and Pristini able to win out in the family affair. It was Celium with the best play, but once more, Seattle being crafty. And to kind of start off the season, Stud, Seattle, this was their backbone game mode. Like, they kind of struggled in a number of different areas, but Search and Destroy was really where they found their grit. And I guess if you talk about composition, Classic kind of fills in a role similar to Looney in terms of what he's able to do for the roster. And it very well could be kind of a similar makeup, which has allowed for this team to be better in this mode in particular.
Yeah, definitely, man. Classic's just doing the dirty work. Like I said, he's that bomb carrier. He's going to be the player that's watching flanks and just initiating the pushes for the Surge. So the bomb is going to go down towards B, but the only difference is you have a Beezy who's working that late flank. He's able to spot Pristini. Is he able to read this play? He's going to check it, but Pristini with some great shots, able to win that engagement, force it to a 3v3 situation. With 25 seconds left, Atlanta Faze, they need to start putting on the pressure towards his bedroom area, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Celium able to get that kill onto Gunless, but time is starting to tick. They need to try to locate both players. Pristini's going to get that trade. Now it's Simp in a 1v1 versus Pristini. He's able to win it. Now it's all about playing the clock correctly versus his twin brother. You had me last time, but I'm going to come out on top this time. Pristini's able to clutch up the 1v2 situation and now put his team at 5-3.
How about the plays from Pristini? We talked about it to start off the day. Classic comes onto this team. It just kind of continues to put the other three in a spotlight. How can they perform? Now with one of the most unselfish players in the game now on their team, and they've stepped up in a number of different ways. This time around, it was Pristini. I believe finds 3 in the round, and like isn't able to find, like you said, his good old twin brother Arcees. It was the round victory nonetheless, as Seattle now finding themselves in commanding position 5-3. A lot of pressure going down toward B. I feel like we've even yet to see the A-bomb in our last, good 5 or 6 rounds. But here we go again. This time it's the ARs. Arcees and Celium putting in the work early. And it will come down once more to the ARs to try and get the job done. A quick 2v4 here for the Surge.
Sim's going to win a great gunfight onto Octane, so now it's a 1v4 situation for Gunless. He's having himself a map currently sitting at 12-5, but 1v4 situation is a really difficult task to get done. Some great shots. Unfortunately, Arcees with better. He's able to walk away with that engagement. And that was one thing, is that when I was looking at the stats for Atlanta Faze, Arcees was sitting at 1-5. And he's one of the more consistent S&E players that we have in the game. It was only a matter of time to see him just start picking up kills, and he's able to find 2 on that round. That puts him at 4-6. And now they're staying alive, with the Surge still only 1 round away from closing this out.
I want to ask you, right? Surge find themselves up 5-3. Now it's 5-4. What do you want to see Seattle do now in this offense? How do they close it out in this round, Stud?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I would like to see them go towards B, but they're going to change this up and completely catch Atlanta Faze off guard. So they're going to commit towards this A-bomb site. They're taking control of ring, but Celium, some great shots on the Octane, is able to get the first blood, so he knows that the pressure is going to be on him. So about just trying to get out with your life, and he's able to do so. Sets up his teammate in Arcees. Such a great bait and switch right there. So now it's a 4v2 situation. But Gunless knows if Sim's coming, a Beezy's got to be there as well. So now he's able to back down. Now in a 3v2 situation, the challenge is going to come in, and Celium takes down Classic, takes down Gunless, and just like that, Atlanta Faze forced it to a round 11.
Oh man, just when we talk about what can the Surge do. 5-3 down to 5-5, and of course, it is MC putting in the work toward the end of the round. We gotta see what the KDs are. 13-7 for Gunless, 12-6 for Celium. Obviously, you've seen the impact of other players on the map. Obviously, for the Surge, maybe not as consistent, but here we go into the round 11. Can it be 3 straight for Faze? It is back to the offensive side, and it's Celium once more. 13-6, his 5th kill in a row. As Seattle somewhat hobbling their way over to A, and that push in some ways has been stopped. It's been silenced for the moment, and with this position that Simp has, he could easily cause some problems. He's got players watching his back towards Zig. Classic, with the loss of Pristini, doesn't have that fast SMG to work with. He's not going to have as much information to go off of, and that's why the push has halted the way that it has so far, Stud. You see Classic, he's just not confident yet.
Yeah, Atlanta Faze that just have map control. And you see the Surge players, especially at number 4 in Gunless, he's just trying to be anticipating one of the players from Atlanta Faze to hit that flank. But with 30 seconds left, eventually the bomb has to start getting work towards that A site. You see both players from Atlanta Faze backing up, making sure that they're keeping control of jungle, keeping control of that tree. because they're going to try to do this on a 4v3 retake. They're allowing that bomb to get planted, but the pinch is going to come in. So with 45 seconds left, Seattle are down a man. See how Atlanta decides to approach this. They're going to have 3 players pushing towards back laundry. Unfortunately, Gunless not able to close out on that kill, but Simp is here. Now the trade is in. Simp with some great shots, trying to find the dirt into Gunless. But don't worry, Celium's going to be there. And just like that, Atlanta Faze are able to rally 3 rounds in a row to close out map number 2. And now put them up 2-0 in the series. Just a great performance from Atlanta Faze in that Surge and Destroy in those final moments.
Again, it's in the clutch moments. You said 3 rounds straight, and how poetic, right? It comes down to the final engagement. Simp, of course, having one of the bigger impacts of the round, but it is Celium versus Gunless. Obviously had the support of the team, but a battle that went all the way throughout the Search and Destroy goes continually the way of Faze. They just continue to answer stud in these big moments. We start to count them out in the hard point, they bring it back. We count them out in the Search and Destroy, and they're able to bring it back once more. A 4-game losing streak on Raid, Search and Destroy, and now we come into a control up next, my friend, which has treated Seattle by no means kindly so far throughout the year.
Yeah, and it really hasn't, man. Now that they lose that map number 2, they're 0-2 once again in the series, going into their worst game mode, which they're 3-17 on the year. And just going back into that S&D, when they were on their offensive pushes, like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, don't take that, but we didn't see them go towards that A-bomb the entire game, and then the last 2 offensive pushes, they decided to be committed towards it, and it just really hurt them right there. They probably would have went towards B, because that's the thing that Atlanta Faze were really struggling with shutting down. They'd probably be able to close it out, but they call that play call. It was completely different, and Atlanta Faze, perfect counter, able to close it out with 3 straight.
Absolutely, my friend. Like we said, just in these big moments, Atlanta, they've been able to respond so far, of course, now finding themselves up 2-0. But kind of on topic with that Search and Destroy, let's go and take a look at our U.S. Army tactical play. This one coming in round 11. So we talked about what Seattle did wrong. Tell me, what did Atlanta do right in this particular round?
So right here, once again, they take control of that middle map, but they have that number 8 player, which is a BZ, takes control of water steps. So once he spots that no players are there, Celium from that back laundry is able to open up with the first blood. So the fact that they're keeping water steps, they're keeping mid-map control, they know exactly where Seattle Surge are trying to execute this play. So they let the bomb go down towards that A-bomb. They allow the retake to come in. They fully commit 3 players towards the backside of laundry. And this is where Simp completely throws him off guard, because he's able to run out the side, able to get 2, and then it's all left up to Gunless in a 1v4 situation. The trade comes in, and Atlanta Faze, they just took their time. No one got overzealous. No one tried to be an individual playmaker. And they retake it properly in a 4v3 situation.
Like we said, it was Celium with 14. It was also in the later stages, Gunless with 14. Just all about the teammate support as a big W yet again here in the Atlanta Faze camp as they find themselves up 2-0. It is a control on Garrison. Can Seattle finally end out this streak? It's been 8 losses in a row in control. Can today be where they change it up, or will Faze continue to parade in what will possibly be a 3-0? Make sure to stay with us, as it is Gary Control right up after this.
Hard point in Search and Destroy, guys. What a strong performance to start. Unfortunately, I just don't think we really kept the momentum. Looking back at it, Hardpoint, we started phenomenally. We started so strong. Octane had streaks. Classic was clearing the space when needed. Everything, it was such a close game. There were parts where Preston just absolutely pushed his way through, clearing 2 to 3 people. The rotations, everything we were doing phenomenally. We just, unfortunately, we were not able to beat Faze in the long run. It just did not seem like the momentum stayed in our favor. Unfortunately, that does happen sometimes. It just happened here. Like I said, though, our hardpoint performances have been tenfold. They've been so much better than anything we've been doing before. So I'm already excited to see how the rest of the stage plays out. Search and Destroy, guys. Gunless, I know you were 5-0. I think it went 6-0 before you finally got shut down. What a performance from you. First off, I don't even really consider you the Search and Destroy Slayer when I think of you. I think of you as a respawn AR god. I know you're really good at Search, but I just think of you as like the king of ARs when I think of you. And today, you showed up for everything. You came out on fire. the Search to Destroy performance from you alone was absolutely spectacular to see. I really wish we were able to shut that down. We started hot. We did not finish well as a team, but overall, Gunless, your performance today has been everything expected of you and more. Okay. Unfortunately, Faze did just overpower us. We were not able to shut down Celium at all. I think he ended up, I believe he ended up getting more kills than Gunless to end that game. However, it was absolutely spectacular to watch. I really hope going into this control, if Gunless keeps playing how he's playing, and Preston shows up and Octane does as well, and we can continue to have Classic clear and play that entry role and get these kind of rotations that he's been doing. Classic has been on today. He's been playing exactly what I think he needs to do as that new 4th edition. I would just like to see him play well with the team overall. Guys, if you want to look as good as our players do, remember, shop.seattlesurge.gg. I'll be here at the end of the game. I'm thinking we still have a chance. Guys, remember, round them out.
But when we talk about kind of the mixture of this team, it also kind of follows in that same pattern. At times great, at times they begin to falter. You notice the major difference from stage 1 to stage 3. The stage 2, of course, was a great one for them. We think, hey, maybe things are starting to turn around, and they come into stage 3, and it was not all the case.
Yeah, definitely wasn't, man. Stage 1 obviously was the learning point for this team. Stage 2, they were showing improvements. Then stage 3 is when that roster change came in. Everything was just not clicking for the Surge, so obviously the stats are looking a little different, but you can just tell when Pristini's not playing well, Gunless is not playing well, and both of those guys are basically a 1-2 punch. They need to be playing consistent for this team to have success, and now they find themselves in a situation where they're down 0-2 going into their worst game mode to try to win this one, and it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore, of course, our Scuff quick scope 3-17 control record. And I want to ask you, Stud, from your perspective, of course, longtime professional player, what do you think that the comms are right now in the Surge camp? You're coming into a control. I mean, do you think that there is this added pressure coming into a mode like this, or do you think that it's more of a matter of hey, we've lost as much as we have, it's just a matter of trying to get a W? Where do you think the mindset is for Seattle now that they come into a control versus the best team in the mode?
Yeah, I don't think that they have, any pressure on them because, like you said, they are the worst team in the game mode. So, if they win it, it'll be a miracle. It'll be a surprise because they've just been struggling with it the entire year. You said it. They're going up against the best team in this game mode for Atlanta Faze. And the only thing that's a bright spot for the Seattle Surge is that the 3 wins they have in control are all on Garrison.
Hey.
So, they have to be feeling really confident to at least get it here. But Atlanta Faze, they're 10-3 on this map. Just the pressure that they were able to put on in that map number 1, specifically a BZ, he needs to be shut down on this map for a Seattle Surge to stay alive here.
Oh, man. Here we go. Into the Garrison. Talk about how there is no pressure on this team. It's just a matter of just trying to turn the tide a little bit. And the reason why I ask is really just because there's just been so much talk, right, on the Seattle roster just in regards to, it's an 8-game losing streak. It's an 8-game loss streak in control. They're 0-8 on raid, control. Just a number of different things. And I guess at times, it is always interesting to kind of know how the social media side of things, how even just the overall talk around things can kind of influence players from moment to moment. But as we said for Faze, rock solid in these clutch moments to start, as coming into this game 3, Garrison control for them has treated them quite nicely. A 10-3 record on this map. He's already into the thick of things. Faze for a moment looking pretty good, trying to go for the defense is Octane as he'll walk away with a nice double. 30 seconds left. Atlanta got to make a push here soon.
Yeah, so the Surge, they have done such a great job at just keeping the pressure on, keeping the map control in their favor, and just forcing Atlanta Faze to try to win engagements in uncomfortable positions. And they were able to find 3, so now the opening is going to be towards that B point. But Gunless able to find 2. He's going to continue that clock on ticking. 13 seconds remaining. You see RCDs. He's going to have to try to slow this down, win a couple engagements towards this A point. Able to win the first. The pinch is going to come in from the top, and he sets up his teammate perfectly. So that's going to be 3 down. Progression coming in towards this A point. The first tick is in, and you see what Atlanta Faze are doing. They're committed to closing this one out because it's a lot easier to cap that B point solo. So they're going to have multiple people here. That's another 3 down. And when we thought that the Surge had a great defensive hold, Atlanta Faze are able to break through. RCD's having himself a map already on a 6 spree. They have that time already gained from that A point. They have a 7 live advantage. And Progression is already coming in towards that B point.
Gunless is trying to save the point right now. He's the farthest pushed up player. He drops and now quickly comes on to Octane. Nearly 2 ticks through, pulls out the SMG, and unfortunately he's not able to make that work either. Just one more tick away for this round going the way of Atlanta as they stack it, and it will go their way.
Man.
Once more. We cannot talk about it enough. It is the late stages. It's these final pushes that Atlanta just continue to win. And I'll be honest with you, Stud, like when Arsenal was initially at this point, it was a quick 1 versus 2, and it just seemed as if like nobody was aware of the fact they know that he's grabbing time, but nobody looks in his direction. You got 2 players, both of them looking toward top green. That play sets up what would be kind of a rolling effect over at that point, and then echoes into the other side of the map. Just little moments once more where you just see the teamwork from Seattle just not being on point in these big moments.
Yeah, so yeah, in that 2v1 situation, Octane, he came out of that side bricks area, was just basically watching towards top green, but he was allowing his teammate to try to put that pressure on towards back tank, but RCDs just did such a great time at stalling the time and allowing his teammates to eventually jump towards top green and set up that pinch. But you already see, on this offensive push for the Surge, they start off with 3 kills, early progression on towards this B point. The Atlanta Faze, they're able to slow that down with 3 players going in their favor. Last player is going to be Classic on towards that B point. The contest is going to be in. Classic is going to drop in. Just when we thought that the Surge were going to be able to extend this clock by an extra minute, Atlanta get in.
Sim doing the nice dirty work as well. Removing the trophies. Based on how good the trophies are, man, I think that you might have to add those into the kill streaks from time to time. They are...
Possibly.
They
do so much damage.
At least give like a 0.5, you know, at that point. But all jokes aside, Surge maybe starting to stack over toward this B point. Ever close. Securing this one over at B. Trophies or not, Pristini will be there to celebrate what is a point captured. But minute 48 on the clock. Oftentimes on Garrison, we do see that B point cap first, and it's really just a matter of how can you find that look over at A. Is it going to be toward top green, or can it be on the flank toward bricks? A well-seasoned team in Atlanta continuing to hold on to live that mid-map presence. Simp falls, and that could potentially be one of the groundwork kills to set up a nice little flank here from Surge.
Yeah, and the Surge are trying to commit around this backside towards bricks. They're sending all 4 players. That number 4 player in Gunless is just making sure the pinch doesn't come in from top green. But Classic able to open up the first onto Simp. Going to spawn him all the way out towards that back tank area. So now the pressure has to come in. They cannot allow Simp to get back into this play. He's able to get 1. And now the last 2 players from the Surge are going to be in their base. Classic's going to drop, so it's all left up to Pristini. He has to try to stall some time. He has to try to just finesse his way around this back area. Unfortunately, Stellium is going to spot him and win that engagement. So all the map control that the Surge just had just got shut down, and now it's time to put on the pressure if you're Atlanta Faze.
It is indeed. Maybe it's Archie's turn to begin to erupt. Tosses out the nade. Always a fun battle to watch, but it's Archie's is able to win this particular battle versus Pristini. Now sitting on 4 in a row. 25 seconds left for Surge. Can they even get past the 50-yard line? Classic with the best potential to do it. Very well may have found the lane. Makes his way in toward top green, and now all Archie's can do is really just watch from a distance, just fire out a few shots, but it's Celium there for the quick reply. Finds the double, and now Pristini having to lead the way for the crew. Now it all comes down to Gunless, the search and destroy battle that transfers to the control. And speaking of it, it is all around dominance from Atlanta toward the stretch, all around dominance for Cell.
They just do such a great job at just holding that first push. And they do an even better job at once they shut down that push, they take complete map control. They force the Seattle Surge players to come off spawn and have to worry about Arcides, have to worry about Abizi, who was all the way pushed up towards that bottom floating tank. And it was just really difficult because Atlanta Faze, they don't make many mistakes. And the time where they allowed that player to go through that backside bricks, open up that first blood, the pinch needs to be there a little faster for the Surge. Unfortunately, they allow Simp to come off spawn, get back into the play, get a kill, and then eventually shuts down that push for the Seattle Surge. So they find themselves down 2-0 in the series. Now, down 2-0 in this map number 3. They need to just come alive, man. They need to show improvements in this game mode.
It's just so hard right when you're facing off against a team like Atlanta, who've won their last 6 controls and what? And I think in those 6 victories, rather in their last 8 victories, a good majority of those have been 3-0s as well. 9-1 in their last 10, I'm being told. So again, just
They're taking A again.
And an easy thing to try to overcome.
They're doing the hard stuff. They're doing the hard things right off the rip. And this is not what we see teams do often. We don't see teams commit towards the 8-point like the way Atlanta Faze have done now on 2 different offenses. So now the Surge, that's going to be another 2 down. They're allowing Faze to just early get on towards this B point. Abeezy's winning this gunfight all the way across the map. Make it 2, but Classic, he's able to shut down the players from Atlanta Faze on towards that point. The streaks are coming in. Keep in mind, Selim still does have that artillery, and this is looking really bad right now for the Surge.
It is indeed, my friend. That was a great call. I'm glad that you mentioned that, right? They're doing the hard stuff. They know that they have the ability to take over that 8-point. You just kind of tell, like, they have the slaying freedom. They know that they have the ability to do things because of the players that they have on this team. By the way, Selim, nice little 9 spree. You know, we just don't really kind of point out things as often as we should. 9 in a row for Cell. Took over in the search and destroy and has continued on into this mode as well. See if he can make it 10. We've seen quite a few sprees actually on Garrison, and thank you for the 10th. Reaches double digits, and is that the kill that puts the nail in the coffin here to this series, into this map? A few players trying to make their way from green. Octane in from lights. Octane wins the initial battle, but that's 2 ticks through. Beezy's there for the help and the support. Moments away from this series being done. The Seattle collapse, possibly onto the point. It could very well come down to a Beezy. He's grabbing time, goes for the quick challenge, but greeted by 2 other players of the Surge. It just feels like we're just moments away from this one being locked up, but Seattle continued to battle. And what a moment this could be for the Surge if they were able to secure this round, but Classic gets dropped from the back again. Once more, it comes onto the shoulders of Octane. Pulling down lights, gun, Celium.
Shots.
And with that makes things that much more difficult, but it's the flank. It's the tiny tears and assistance, as that's going to be the 3rd for Simp. And could that be the 3rd round? Gunless lighting it up himself. And has it finally been the time with 2 lives left? It will be a 3-0 in control and a 3-0 in the series for Atlanta.
They're just too good, man. They're just way too good, man. They just come in and handle business. They play maps that they're not really comfortable with, like that Checkmate Hardpoint, like the Raid S&D, which is the only one that they've, majority of the time, they lost to Toronto. But it's just hard, man, because Atlanta Faze is just way too good. It was David versus Goliath here, and the Goliath walks away on top, man. As we expected, that's going to be the 10th sweep on the season for Atlanta Faze. These guys are just insane, man, from top to bottom. And the fact that throughout that map number 3, they were doing the hard things first. They went out and got 8-point right off the rip, not once, but twice. And they forced the Seattle Surge to basically just not fight for map control, just to force themselves out of bricks to win those engagements. And it allowed Faze to just pick up some streaks, pick up some early time, and then eventually execute both offensive rounds beautifully, man. It was great to see from Atlanta Faze in this 3-0 series.
It's so much like, it's so interesting to see the stats, Steve, because it's just, there's so many different results that you can take with Atlanta. We took with their 2nd straight 6-0, or rather their 2nd straight 3-0. I mean, just a number of different things. And but for Seattle, on the more bitter end, 9-match losing streak. An unfortunate loss here is what I think that they tie the 2nd highest losing streak in CDL history. Paris had 9 back in MW, and I believe it was Minnesota who had 10 back in Modern Warfare as well. But a bitter end, way to lose that one for Surge. And I want to ask you, Stud, as we take a look at this final scorecard here, as we kind of reflect back on this series, what's the headline? Like, what's the tweet? Obviously, for those analysts out there, what's the tweet? What's the headline after a series like this, specifically on the Surge end?
On the Surge end, I guess the headline you gotta be is like, we're currently dead last in the league. We're not good at search and destroy. We're not good at control. We might be world's worst. Exactly, right there. We might be world's worst. And right now, the Seattle Surge, they're not clicking, man. Their S&D's not on point. They were up 5-3. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They should have committed towards that B-bomb a little bit more. And then in that control, they just show what we expected out of these guys. They're the worst team that we have throughout this game mode, and it's just not been good from the Surge, and they're still sitting at 50 points all the way in the 12th spot. it's not looking good for them trying to head towards the end of the year at champs.
Is definitely not, my friend. A hard loss to have, especially when talking about a new roster change, things of that nature. But we have to revisit that last control, of course, for our scuff play of the game. And but a guy that we've been talking about a number of different times recently for this Atlanta Faze team has been Arcades. And he once again is the player kind of the moment. We talked about this earlier round. This is kind of the play that we were breaking down. Two players looking toward green, and really this was kind of the echo effect throughout this round stud from here. Arcades is able to secure the kills. He's able to obviously walk away with the time alongside of the teammates. And then A would then go into B. And then from there, it was the spiral.
Yeah, it was all just Arcades just taking control of top green, getting on to this point. And eventually, like you said, both players from the Surge coming out of inner bricks, focusing towards top green, just allowed his teammates to be able to jump up there and get that trade. And then Arcades was never contested on towards that point, so he was able to pick up some streaks, able to close at that point, basically by himself.
I didn't hear you.
And it was just really difficult, man, because the Surge, they had opportunities, they just couldn't execute at the end.
Fortunately, not able to execute here. As you see, Atlanta, like we said, 3 wins to start off Stage 4. Still have the Thieves and the Rocker to face off against. And obviously for the Surge side, not looking as clean when we talk about the way they have started things off. Of course, they dropped that series versus LA Thieves. That one goes down to a Game 5. They dropped the 3-0 here, and still have Rocker, Optic, and Legion to face off against to kind of keep in mind how important the group is. We talked about a number of different victories. Starting off 0-2, though, can really start to cause some problems when we talk about what is needed. You kind of need to reach that 3 map to be able to secure things. But it is the ever happy Alec getting a nice W there. Love to see it. It is Lottie, joined alongside by Arcades when we come back after the break.
I don't know what everyone's saying about Maven being a jinx. Maybe I am at this point. Guys, my predictions have not been on lately. Clearly, all right, 3-0 in favor of FaZe. Not the best performance I was really looking forward to. I'm not going to lie to you. Hardpoint and Surge, we started so hot. I can't even begin to tell you how proud I was watching those performances to start, because it's absolutely something we've been working on. It's something we need to work on. We have been putting in the hours. It's not like we're just sitting here not doing anything. Guys, you have seen improvement in areas that we were severely lacking in before, clearly. But I feel like in doing so, we've neglected certain areas that we were already doing well in that we're not doing as well in anymore. I feel like we dropped the ball on certain performances. I think that if the SMGs can keep up with the ARs, we might have a much better chance of surviving this. But guys, control has been our downfall since day one. I feel like it's going to continue to be. We need some serious addressing or changes to our performance for control. Otherwise, I think we really did play phenomenally today. I think that we were absolutely looked at like we stood no chance whatsoever, but we showed otherwise. Round 11 is Search and Destroy, a very close hardpoint game that only took the turn at the very end for FaZe. Guys, Seattle Surge actually did phenomenal. I know I'm saying that word a few times here tonight, but there's no other way to describe it. We were expected to absolutely get shut out, and we didn't let that happen. It was a 3-0. FaZe did win it, but those 2 early game performances that we gave them, I know fans watching were shaking, were expecting or telling us that we deserved to win at that point, because there were moments in that game that we just absolutely performed better than anyone was anticipating. I was on the edge of my seat screaming when Preston had a few of these plays. It really was entertaining to watch. You can't sit here and tell me it wasn't. At third game, control got away from us. That one, that was a little snooze fest. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm really hoping we go back to the drawing board on that. I have the highest of hopes for next time. Guys, we're back in 2 days. The Seattle Surge are going to take on the Minnesota Rocker. You are going to see a game to remember. I'm really telling you now, I think that we have a really good chance to absolutely flip this and turn the rest of this stage around. Guys, Seattle Surge on top. Remember, shop.seattlesurge.gg if you want to look as good as our players do. We just dropped the champion merch. It's absolutely fire. I'm RLaw, and it's been an absolute blast, and drown them out.